Welcome back to the Concussion Protocol podcast, everybody. My name is Connor. With me, as always, are Chance and Chase. This was a fun week. This is a wild week. Lots of drama, lots of stake, lots of picks. Chase, I imagine you were pretty excited to see that defense step up, but we'll discuss. Was it the defense or was it this absolutely floundering Florida program in their offense? Near and dear to my heart, as always, are the Sun Devils, who finally put together a performance that looked like they kind of knew how to play football a little bit. I'm not saying that they're back to being a top 15 team quite yet. I'm not gonna go that far, but it was a fun game to watch. We'll get into absolutely all of it. We'll get into the thrashings, the overtimes, the missed extra points, the generational disappointments that are coming out of various programs, and some programs that are stepping it up in a big way that very few people expected, and we're here for it all. So let's kick it off. Big 12. It's always the most unpredictable conference, but my goodness, this year, the entire conference looks like they have no idea what to do with themselves. Sam Leavitt looked good, I think, in this game. Jordan Tyson had what will probably go down as one of the greatest plays of the entire season, and Sam Leavitt absolutely set it up on that. ASU played like they were supposed to play. The score was actually wider than it showed at the final score. They got a kind of a garbage time touchdown. Otherwise, it would have been single digits for the Bobcats all the way. But that was fun to see. Running game looked great. Passing game looked much improved. I'm definitely not going to say excellent yet, but it was much improved. That defense finally looked organized all the way through. So glad to see it. Big matchup with Baylor coming up. A big matchup on both sides. There are a lot of huge games that are going to determine who is looking legit and who is complete posers in the Big 12 this weekend. That's not the only conference with some big matchups, though. Chase, you've been very excited to talk about some of the most interesting things that happened in the conference over the last couple days. Why don't you get into it? Why don't you get us into what you've been so excited about?
Do you want to talk about Georgia Tech and Clemson?
I definitely want to talk Georgia Tech and Clemson.
Yeah, no, definitely an interesting ACC matchup. First game of the day for me to watch. I was watching this, and got to be honest, for some of it, I was a little bit bored. It was definitely interesting watching those defenses play pretty well against those offenses, but Clemson's offense and Klubnik, dude. I think there's only one other team's like offense that I'm more disappointed in this season. And it's just Klubnik looks so bad. Like to have been the Heisman like front runner, one of two of the front runners, and to now just being basically useless against a Georgia Tech team, which Georgia Tech is a good team. They even last year they went to 7 overtimes, 8 overtimes with Georgia.
8 overtimes.
8 overtimes and a really fun game with too many timeouts. Thanks, Kirby Smart. But anyways, wow, that was definitely an interesting game. But damn, what do we think about Clemson right now? From going from a top 5 ranked team to unranked.
I think it's so hard because you had Clemson last year who really disappointed and somehow still made the playoffs. So part of me is like, I don't want to count them out, but man, they're not good. I'm done with them. I think they can be like, I don't know, 7-5, but they're gonna lose a lot of games, I think, this year. They don't have it. Not my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I was riding really high on them as well. The way they ended that playoff game last year, like that playoff game against Texas, that was in a horribly tough environment to play. That first round, nobody knew what to expect. I mean, first year of the 12-team playoff on the road, first time a playoff has ever been a home game in that opening round. And they really figured it out in the second half. Texas was fighting for every single yard against Clemson, and Cade Klubnik was the reason that they got clawed back into that game. They got within that one score, and I mean, it was one pass away from tying that game up. And I thought really that they had the most kind of room to grow, to like take that next step. I thought that they had a gigantic ceiling, and they haven't shown any sign of that. And I don't know if it's because they keep scheduling these gigantic week 1 matchups against top 10 teams. I mean, I hesitate to say it because this is a team that's been to the national championship, going back in the last 10, 15 years. They've got almost as many appearances as the entire SEC, and they've won several of those. Like they've produced Heisman's. Like, I mean, they've got ridiculous NFL talent on their roster at all times, and for some reason, the last couple years they've looked lost, and it's sad to see. But I can't name the problem with them.
Yeah, speaking particularly on this season and this roster and what they have, they should be so much better.
Yeah,
They have NFL talent all over the field. They have a coach who's been there, done that, and I'm speechless. There's nothing logical to what's happening to him. Nothing. And I keep picking them. I picked them as national champs. I mean, on paper, they are that good, and they suck, and I hate it. And I'm never picking them again. They've lost my trust, and probably trust in all of their teammates and everything. Their locker room is probably a disarray, which does not bode well for the rest of the season.
Yeah. No, so what you said earlier is that some people could possibly make a run for the playoffs or the ACC championship. I don't think that's happening at all.
I'm looking at their schedule right now, and I'm trying to think of a game that I would feel confident. I'm looking at a lot of very mid-tier ACC teams. I mean, you're talking Syracuse, UNC, Boston College, and Duke that are all really kind of majorly struggling. I could see them losing to every single one of them.
Clemson?
Like UNC probably is the least likely right now, but like
I can't see them losing those games, but I think it's the fact that there's two sleeping giants in the ACC right now, and it's not even one they already played. Like Georgia Tech was a team that I thought was going to actually make the ACC championship, and you know why? It's because they play a ton of pipsqueaks from here on out. They don't have they are going to be favored in every single game they play this year until Georgia. They literally, this is their schedule for the next couple of weeks. They have Temple, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Duke on the road. There's your chance.
Hey, Duke only has to beat Clemson now and Georgia Tech. Come on.
Syracuse, North Carolina State, Boston College, and then Pitt. And then it's the Georgia matchup. So
yeah, and even the teams that you thought would be okay are not looking good. Like the Pitt game. You thought, that's a mid-tier team that could upset some people. They lost to West Virginia, So Georgia Tech's looking really, really good. I mean,
real quick.
there's no. I mean, they should have high playoff hopes.
They're looking good, and their strength of schedule and road to the conference championship is solid. And if Georgia continues to be good, which we'll talk about Georgia in a little bit, but if Georgia continues to be good and they play them close again, that's not going to be a bad loss at all.
It won't matter if they win their championship. So if they win the ACC championship.
I'm still not sold on Georgia Tech, though. I mean, they beat Colorado. Who cares? Close. They beat Clemson, who almost, again, lost to Troy. They looked terrible the whole season. They haven't really proved anything, but unfortunately for us, we don't get to see anything from them until probably Georgia. So, I mean, they could definitely make the playoffs and then definitely get just thrashed in the playoffs as well.
Yeah. I don't think they will make the playoffs. I think they're going to be where you thought Duke was going to be. They're going to be the second seed of that ACC championship, and they're going to get walloped by probably the winner of Florida State, Miami. Whichever one of those teams beats each other, I think that's probably going to be the other ACC contender, unless some chaos happens, which it's college football. It could happen. Florida State could beat Miami, and then Clemson could beat Florida State, and then just completely have it just all over the place. The only team that I think is basically guaranteed is Georgia Tech at this point, just because of how weak their schedule is.
Because Georgia Tech isn't proven, who's to say that they're that good of a team and can't get beat by some of these other teams as well? I mean, we honestly have no idea about them. All we know is Colorado sucks, and apparently Clemson sucks. That's all we know about them.
Well, and they will have that chance, near the end of the season. That would be a heck of a way to end their season, is with running that gauntlet of if they do make the title game, playing either Florida State or Miami if they keep trending. Then Georgia, Florida State, or Georgia and then Florida State, if they do end up winning those two things back to back, then they would have to be a top 5 and certainly getting one of the buys. But that is two tough games especially after playing minimally.
All I'm saying is if it were me, I would put money on Georgia Tech, small amount of money of them making the championship game because
you're not going
again,
all
it
in by
looks
any means.
good, but don't be surprised if they lose to like an NC State because we don't know if they are that team. And I don't think they are. I think they're solid, but they're still vulnerable. And we just haven't seen a good team pick apart their vulnerability.
I agree.
I think Haynes King is a good quarterback though. The dude's got some. That
I
dude,
love watching him play.
So,
Pat said in the game in the pregame, he's got moxie. That kid has some talent. He's got some oomph to his gameplay. So I think he's going to will his team to winning quite a few games this season. So.
He's got Scadaboo vibes as a quarterback.
Total leader for sure. I could see that. Yeah.
What's next?
All right. Next matchup, same state, different team. Georgia at Tennessee. Wow, this one was really entertaining. Not even just in the game, even the pre-game before that, where you got to watch all these crazy Tennessee fans sing songs about how much they hate Alabama, how much they hate LSU, how much they hate Florida, and none of them played them this week. They just felt like airing it out. So, but that must be an amazing environment going into Knoxville to play that game.
Maybe we were not talking about that. That's gonna be. I mean, if there was a bucket list of games or atmospheres I want to go to, Tennessee has to be up there. That would be such a fun game.
Yeah, no, I actually.
You know how hard it must be to get a bunch of drunk Tennessee fans to color coordinate an entire stadium every week. That's got to be so hard.
Dude, that's a really cool town. I actually went to Knoxville a couple years back for a concert, and that's a really cool area. So I think that I didn't get to go in the football stadium, and we went to the basketball stadium for the concert, but it's definitely a really cool area. So I would love to go to see one of those games. Unfortunately for them, it did not turn out the way that Tennessee fans wanted. A missed kick at the end of regulation that was, in most cases, a gimme, but because of all the pressure going on that poor kid, that kid looked 15 years old. When every time the camera flashed over to him, I was like, that kid is scared. I don't know if this is going good. And wow, he missed it. They go to overtime. He makes the kick in overtime, but then Georgia literally on the first play of overtime for their offense runs it straight to like the 1, and then they just have a couple plays right into the end zone, and it's over. And it's really sad to see because I think Tennessee is a really good team, but Georgia just has that history, man. They've been there, done that, and I think that's truly their veteran talent is what pushed them over in this game.
I really like Tennessee as well. I think they've played good up to this point, and I think they potentially could be a playoff team. That being said, I mean, 2 plays accounted for most of their points, and they were a little fluky. So it probably didn't have to be that close. Georgia definitely screwed up in their secondary a couple times on just jump balls that their DBs, I don't know what they were thinking, but they're still a solid team. I do like Tennessee moving forward. They can definitely take down some teams for sure.
Yeah, Joey Aguilar looked really good on the long ball. His short game definitely needs some work because there was a lot of just miscommunications and poor throws on the short passes, and their run game could probably use a little bit of tweaking as well. But their big play potential was crazy. Like it was that whole beginning of the game looked like the Missouri-Kansas game for Kansas. Like they were just absolutely just chucking them down the field and getting these easy scores against a Georgia team that's notorious for how good their defense is. So that was really special to see.
Usually the only question Georgia ever has is on their offense. I mean, it's kind of usually a given that Georgia's defense is going to be pretty tough to do anything against. And yeah, he was. I mean, he had close to 400 yards, all sorts of touchdowns in that game. He was fun to watch. I hadn't actually taken the time to really watch him yet until that game this year, and he's got potential. Yeah, in that playbook, I mean, they're running an offense where they're willing to do just about anything. I mean, they're a fun offense to watch, and I think we all picked Georgia to win, but I'm very glad that it was that close. I Tennessee's an easy team to be cool with as far as SEC teams go.
Till they're not.
Yeah.
Don't let them get too good because that could get a little ugly.
Yeah, they definitely they don't like my team, but I have no problems with them. I know exactly what it feels like to have your rival dog on you for 8 seasons straight. And
I think this was 9. Was this 9 in a row now?
I think this was 8.
Okay. It's at least
2016 by 3 was their last win.
Ugh.
Wait, question. Do they play Vanderbilt? Because that would be the
that
ultimate.
is their that's their actual rival that they play at the end of the season. So
could you imagine if they lose to Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt looks good. We'll talk about them soon.
Ooh, yeah. Question before we move on. Gunnar Stockton, how do we feel about him?
He has stepped up to being capable. I don't think he's necessarily a superstar yet, but I have no problem with his ability to manage the game. I think that he is perfectly competent as a quarterback. And I don't think that he and I will say a caveat to that. I don't think that he needs to be showing hero potential right now because the defense is so good and they have so many other things going for them that I think that he just knows that if he does things correctly, then they're going to win a lot of football games. So,
yep, that's true when you play for Georgia for the most part. But I think Gunnar Stockton played a little bit better than a game manager in that game, to be honest. I think he made some really good throws. He had really good awareness. That's what I really noticed about him. There were plays where the blind side tackle absolutely whiffed on their block, and he somehow, not looking, sensed it and moved and got out of it and escaped a sack or even a strip sack in those moments. And I think that awareness is going to definitely help him in the SEC with some of the pass rushing talent that these teams have. So I definitely like Gunnar Stockton going forward. I'm not going to have him as like top 10 quarterback in the league, but he is definitely someone that I like for this Georgia team. Dude's got some grit.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, he's got some grit. He's got some moxie, so I agree with that. Does he remind you maybe a little bit of why can't I think of his name? Oh, Stetson Bennett.
I was hoping you were going to bring that up. Yeah, that's who he reminded me of. Exactly. I was hoping you were going to say that because he where that's what I'm saying. Where like that wasn't a dig on him in the slightest that he didn't show hero caliber play. He knows how to run the offense and he wasn't trying to force plays. He doesn't need to. He knows how to be a good quarterback, and they haven't been in a situation where he needed to show crazy things. They've been playing from ahead the whole time. I mean, we'll see how that. I mean, Alabama's had their number every year for the last several years, so maybe he'll have a chance to. Maybe he will need to step it up in that game if that rivalry just goes how it's been. Even if whether or not we find out Alabama's having a down year or not, it's kind of irrelevant. But that wasn't a dig at all. I think he's great.
I think anyone inside Georgia would love to have him be compared to Stetson Bennett because he won them 2 championships. So
right. Well, that's where I was going at is like there's some QBs that just like they don't get the stats. Maybe they don't look like the most spectacular, but at times they do. And yet they're just winning QBs. It reminds me of Jalen Hurts, who has like the worst stats during the regular season. Like he didn't even throw for 100 yards, I think, this last week against Kansas City. Yet they win. And I think what's his name? The defensive tackle from Kansas City was kind of like
Chris Jones was egging him on at the end of the game. You didn't even have over 100 yards, and he's like, "We won. Shut up."
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like he doesn't care what his stats are. He just cares about winning. And I'm starting to think that's Gunnar Stockton. It's like, hey, all I do is win. I don't care,
Yeah.
And that's a huge quality that most QBs don't have. That they just find ways to win. They know their team in and out, what they're capable of, what they're not, and they find a way to win.
Kirk Cousins is like that a lot.
Who?
Yeah. Kirk
you
Cousins?
like that?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
Like, does he have the potential to make a big play? Sure, but most of the time you're like, yeah, no, you are never going to lose the game because of
I
Kirk
think
Cousins.
I think if you ask fans of teams that Kirk Cousins played on, they would actually say the opposite, that he really stat padded, especially with like the Vikings.
Justin Jefferson.
What?
Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, like
lost a lot of games, but had some good stats. I don't know if that's a good comparison, Connor. I like him though.
I just know I want to be best friends with the man. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Moving on, Chase. What you got next?
All right, another big game because we had quite a few big games that were down to the wire this week. Texas A&M and Notre Dame before
Ugh.
Saturday. Before
Oh.
Saturday, guys, Texas A&M was 0-13 on the road versus ranked opponents since 2015. 0-13, and because of a missed point after attempt and some questionable refereeing, that streak came to an end on Saturday in a really fun game to watch that I had to watch after the fact because I was so involved in another game, unfortunately. By the way, whoever scheduled these games, do a better job. I don't have 7 TVs, guys. Like, come on. There were so many good games that were this close, and I can't even watch Texas A&M Notre Dame because I'm watching a game on my phone, a game on my TV, and I don't have any more devices. Like, come on, get it right. But anyways, amazing game. Of course, this is one of those games. There was a one thing I wanted to mention about this week is we had a lot of injuries, a lot of scary injuries this week. A couple that stopped the games altogether. And Texas A&M Notre Dame had one with a safety on Texas A&M side, Bryce Anderson. Bro went down and it looked bad. He did give a thumbs up getting carted off the field. And I did look up that they said it's looking good and like he has feeling in his body, but no updates beyond that. Just basically that he has function in his body. So I'm really hoping to hear more good things about him. But that was a scary thing to see. But back to the game and how exciting it was. What'd you guys think?
Honestly, the whole time I was watching, I was like, there's no way Notre Dame lets this up. Or even better yet, my mind was thinking, there's no way Texas A&M pulls this off, right?
Yeah.
Came down to the last play, and he threw the ball, and it was leaving his hands. I was like, all right, game over. Notre Dame's got it. And then Texas A&M caught it. I was like, wait. There's no way he got it. There's got to be something. He dropped it. He fumbled it. There's going to be a review.
It's Texas
And like,
A&M.
it didn't hit me until
don't
like
do
5
this.
minutes after. I was like, wait, Texas A&M actually did it? Like,
Right. They closed it out.
A&M, And they were one of my teams that just on the back of my radar, like one day they're gonna figure it out, and when they do, we're all gonna be sorry because those yell leaders are gonna come screaming at us, and this year might be that year. I mean,
no team would be more annoyed about that than the other Texas team who is not doing it. But go on.
Could you imagine if for an entire 9-month off season, it was 100% about UT and Arch Manning and everything that they're going to do this year. And then the Aggies who got not even a pat on the head, not even just yeah, you guys are going to be there too. If they end up running the SEC out of nowhere, oh man.
That would be crazy.
Austin would catch on fire. There would be riots in the streets. That would be hilarious.
Man, and to think UTSA almost got them too, right, Connor?
They performed admirably, okay? My punishment
UTEP almost got UT, so
yeah, my punishment is coming soon, I promise. It is in the works. But yeah, that was rough. I'm sure you guys saw the SEC shorts that dropped.
Yeah. Love those guys.
That
should be watching their videos,
kicker,
not ours.
that poor place kicker, or the place kick holder from Notre Dame. That guy.
How do you do that at home, no less? You could feel through the TV the air leave the stadium when that happened,
bro.
Because I know Notre Dame fans know when things aren't looking good, and when that PAT missed with some time on the clock, they went, "Oh no, you're kidding!"
No, that cost that absolutely and that game was full of back and forth, and it often does not come down to one play, but that came down to that one play.
It looked even worse too off that, and even though it got called back right when the kickoff was literally Texas A&M scoring a touchdown on the kickoff, and briefly for Notre Dame, it got called back because of a holding or an illegal block in the back or something. But you could tell those fans they knew the worst was coming. They even showed one of the fans being like, "Everyone shut up, don't jinx anything." And unfortunately, that's how it went.
Not the luck of the Irish this year.
Not a good look for Notre Dame. Win 2, somehow still ranked. Don't know how that works, but I had them in my playoffs this year, as a lot of people did.
Yeah, me
And
too.
now it's really hard to say because now they have to depend on not only Miami to like basically dominate the ACC and make them look good. They need Texas A&M to basically dominate the SEC and make them look
I was
good.
the only one of us who didn't have them in the playoff this year. Let's go. I will
Don't
say,
have
not
money.
most of my other picks are not looking that good though.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah,
Also, you
yeah.
didn't even make a full bracket. Don't want to hear it.
I didn't make a
Anyway,
bracket.
Yeah.
this guy didn't even make a bracket. I don't even want to hear nothing. But
By the way, I keep saying this, but I have such big gripes with the AP poll. Somebody ranked Notre Dame 10th in the country.
Yeah, they need to clean house. Get
How does that
Doge in
happen?
there. Start firing people.
Yeah, crazy. One underrated thing to this game and some other games, I think there were a lot of teams that won because their clock management was spectacular. They knew that they could get the ball at the end of the game. They can win on that last minute field goal. Your Georgia Techs, your Texas A&M's won at the last second. There was another one that won at the last second with a field goal. Can't remember who it was. I mean, Tennessee should have been that too. I mean, there was some good coaching and to figure out and QBs figuring out, hey, we need this drive to last this long so we can get the ball back and have the chance to win. A lot of teams did a really good job of that.
One team that didn't was Clemson, as Dabo got dragged through the mud for not using their timeouts at the end of that game.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was terrible.
Yeah, unfortunate for them.
Pulled a Dion.
But all right, moving on from Texas A&M, Vandy at South Carolina, boys.
Okay.
Wow, who saw that coming?
Not me.
Chase, wow.
Me.
That,
I did.
That was good.
I called Vandy. Go Commodores, baby. Now there is a bit of an asterisk. There is a bit of an asterisk. Lenore Sellers got injured right at the end of the first half with an apparent concussion, was out the whole game. We still don't know if he's going to be starting next week. There hasn't been any updates on that. The coach hasn't said anything. So their backup came in. He did not look very good. Their offense was terrible against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt absolutely just dog walked them. Before I let you guys go on this, I saw this graphic at the end of the game for Vandy for streaks broken from this game. This was their first road win against top 25 opponents since 2007. First win against South Carolina. First win against South Carolina since 2008. First SEC opener win since 2011, and first 3-0 start since 2017. Wow.
They're making believers out of me. I thought they were a lot of bluster, but and obviously there's a whole lot of season to go, but I had South Carolina in my playoff at the end.
So did I.
Yeah. And they honestly haven't looked bad until now. And I guess the new benchmark in the SEC is Vanderbilt.
No, I think South Carolina had some red flags the week before.
They did lose their offensive coordinator in the offseason, so that's definitely hurt them.
Yeah. Did you see the bet with
with Diego Pavia, his mom?
Yeah.
And
did you see the response by Diego Pavia?
I didn't see the response.
Oh, his response was, well, what wasn't said about the bet that we forgot about was I was supposed to get introduced to Tate McRae if we won. That was the exchange. He's like, so internet, please make this happen.
Yeah, no,
crazier things have happened.
Yeah, the only thing I saw was that apparently Diego Pavia, if they beat South Carolina, Theo Vaughn is supposed to go out with his mom. Don't know how that came up, but internet go off.
That's so random.
I'm gonna show how out of touch I am right now. Who's Tate McRae?
Pop star.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's basically compared to the Britney Spears of now.
Britney Spears, I know her, and I've heard of her.
I would hope so, Connor.
In case it's not obvious, I have a 2-year-old at home.
Spears I would accuse you of growing up in a cult. That you were that closed off from everybody that you're like, who's that?
The only bands I know right now are the Wiggles.
God.
It is the Wiggles and nothing else that is in my salad.
House.
Hey, it's better than Blippi, man. Can't stand that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But back to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
My problem was they were good. They were a solid team last year. I was just hung up on it was kind of a fluky thing that they got some incredible upsets and that was that year, and this year just maybe they're going to show their true color. I'm wrong, man. I think these guys are legit. They're good. Don't expect them to hold up. I think they can beat some other teams.
Well, I mean,
I don't know about
they got 2
playoffs, but
easy weeks ahead of
maybe.
them.
I mean, why not?
They
What?
got Georgia State next, and then Utah State after that, which is 2 wild matchups for this
They
late in the
lost to
season.
Georgia
But
State
that's the
last year,
SEC.
so hopefully they can get some revenge.
Yeah, but
Oof.
yeah, so hopefully, I mean, they would be massive posers if they ended up messing that up. But yeah, and then here's the thing though, guys, they have a gauntlet to end of a back half of the season. Alabama, which we'll figure out if Alabama's legit as time goes on. Maybe we'll find out from Vandy if Bama's legit. But either way, as it stands
Yeah.
right now, they've got Bama, LSU, Missouri, Texas, and Auburn. And then I wouldn't even call it a break going to, or, at home against Kentucky, because Kentucky has been known to play Kingslayer, and Tennessee. So they play the entire upper echelon of the SEC all in a row in the back half of the season. Like, they should be the top 3 in the country. If they end up surviving this with 1 loss, then they would absolutely be a top 3 team. I mean, that would be ridiculous. And there's a good chance that this that LSU game, if they win their next 3 and beat Bama, there's a solid chance that the LSU matchup is like a top 10 matchup.
They played us really well last season, and our defense was awful, and somehow we still held them to I think it was 14 to 21 or something like that. It was a closer game, but our defense back then held them, and our defense was not very good last season. So this season they're looking a little bit better, but I do think Vandy's the real deal. I think they will play Kingslayer to a couple of these teams. All right, well, since we just talked about them, man, really bittersweet game for me, guys. This is the reason that I couldn't watch the A&M Notre Dame game very well, is because I was sitting there having an aneurysm the whole game against Florida. Because while everybody was really quick to sell stock on Florida, and I get why, losing to USF at home is not a good look. However, I've seen Florida in some of their worst years do the unthinkable and win against these teams. Florida is never really out. They are always their lowest comp is that they can somehow screw one of their rivals out of a good season for them and just play Kingslayer. That is their comp. They're never so bad that you can count them out of every game. Somehow they struggled against USF, which I still think is a good team, and then they go into Baton Rouge at night, Death Valley, and they and if they didn't throw 5 interceptions, they probably could have stole that game against the number 3 team in the country. And honestly, it's because LSU's offense is looking really stagnant right now, and I cannot figure out why. I don't know why our offense struggled. Our running game looked stagnant until the very last play of the game, where Durham ran off like a 70-yard almost touchdown at the very end of the game and then needed out. I could not figure out how we looked so good in the first week against Clemson, even though it was a low-scoring game. I could not figure out how we're just all of a sudden not being consistent on offense. And Garrett, I get that they were really in the offseason having him focus on not making the mistakes and not trying to be a hero. So because last season he had some amazing plays, but he also had some terrible forcing it into triple coverage or right into the middle of the field interceptions that really messed them up in some games. And then this offseason, they focus on that. And maybe that's why he's not doing well. But then I think it was the third quarter, Garrett goes across the field and throws across his body to the center of the field and gets picked off. And I go, why are we focusing on doling him down if he's still going to make this dumb mistake, but now only have 150 yards? I would much rather have had him doing what he did last year and making some mistakes at this point, because that really ticked me off that was a horrible interception. I know he only had 1 versus Florida having 5, but wow, that really ticked me off. But here's the sweet part of it. Our defense played amazing. I'm very proud of them. 5 interceptions. I could not have dreamed to see 5 interceptions from any defense, really. But them against Florida is an amazing feat. So shout out to that defense. Even without both Weeks brothers, or I say both, they have a third brother and he played that game. Whit Weeks was out in the third play of the game and a kind of bogus targeting call. And then West Weeks, another injury, another big injury this week. no pun intended, really scared me because he was holding his knee and then it flashed to him a couple minutes later and he was crying and I really thought he was out for the season. It looked like an ACL. Turns out it's not an ACL, it's a calf strain, which if you watch basketball can be a pretty serious injury leading to a Achilles injury. So hopefully he sits out for a game or two and can come back, hopefully. But sorry to go on the rant. You know how I feel about my Tigers, but have at me, guys.
No, it was
Yeah.
this year, just this year, LSU seems to have a defense again. So I don't know why they're switching up the playbook on Nussmeier. Maybe they just wanted to play a little bit safer given how wild things can get in that rivalry. But hey, win's a win, man. 3-0. 3-0, number 3 in the country right now. Whew. You got a lot to be excited about.
That's a sentiment that Brian Kelly shares, but man, it definitely made me nervous, and I'd much rather see them just absolutely blowing them out, unfortunately. But maybe I was just spoiled from the 2019 season. Sorry.
You're rarely going to get that, but you'll probably get a blowout this week. If I'm a betting man, you'll get a blowout this week.
Yeah, I forgot who we're even playing. It's
Southeast Louisiana. Go
Southeast
Lions.
Louisiana. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So
Well,
hopefully,
I mean, Chase, you might not like this, but to your point, I almost felt like both teams lost this week in that matchup. If you're Florida, you're looking at the schedule and you're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna go 2-5. Like that's probably the record that Florida is gonna have after 7 games. Maybe they'll be 3-6 or something. I don't know, but it doesn't look good. They're gonna lose a lot of games. They needed this game and they didn't get it, and they were so close. I mean, if you had a couple picks that didn't go your way or didn't get picked off, you might have had it. If you're LSU, man, you barely won the game with 5 picks. That feels scary. Doesn't feel like you're going to get 5 picks every week. Now, to LSU's credit, he watched those picks, and it's not just DJ Lagway being terrible. On like 3 of them. On like 3 of them, LSU disguised the defense, came out of nowhere, took the ball away. I mean, it was beautiful.
pick 6 especially. I was like,
Yeah. So I mean, it's not just all DJ Lagway or discrediting the defense because they were there. There was like 2 picks though that was like, yeah, that's DJ Lagway. Like
that was some desperation.
What?
They all those picks happened at like right at the 50-yard line or at the 40. Like they all happened in the center of the field for some reason. I don't know why he was so like shaky and desperate. Maybe he's trying to save his coach's job. I don't know. But he definitely did not show us a good side. And this is a quarterback that we were all high on at the beginning of the season. Maybe me and Connor a little bit more than Chance, but we definitely thought we were going to see a little bit better. I think he's still young. I think this is his sophomore year, right? So he's still got another college year at least, but that was not a good showing. Hopefully he can look at least a little bit better.
At this rate, he has several more years of college.
Yeah, I wasn't as high on him just because I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I think he's got the potential, but he's not putting the potential into the field yet. And obviously with what we've been talking about. The other thing that's scary if I'm an LSU fan is your resume should look spotless, squeaky clean, great right now. We all thought it would, but Clemson doesn't look like that great of a win now. And this is nothing against LSU. It's just how things turned out. But that's not the win that you thought it would be. And this Florida win, after a couple weeks, it's not going to be what we thought it was. There's going to be plenty more opportunities for sure. And they still, I mean, until they lose or if they lose, it doesn't matter. But if they start losing, people are going to be like, well, Clemson wasn't that good. Florida, they're 2-5, and so they might start nitpicking a little bit. So LSU's just got to come back and figure out what is going on with their offense. If they can do that, they'll be fine.
This middle stretch of the season, they've got kind of a default bye week with this game this weekend, but it's going to be nothing but proving it from here on out. I mean, Ole Miss, South Carolina, which also looks a little bit weak, but this main, middle 4 or 5 weeks is Ole Miss, Vandy, A&M, and Alabama. So
and all those games seem very winnable to me for LSU. So they can definitely overcome this and make their record and schedule shine.
Yeah. I definitely agree. The Clemson win doesn't look as good. I still think it's a fantastic win. It was week 1 and it was on the road. Week 1 is when your team is not all set in stone. They haven't played a game. There's still some shakes. They went into an opponent's a packed opponent stadium. That's a very like popular stadium, and they dominated the whole game. So that's still a really good win. I think Clemson's going to start looking good now that they're playing lower tier teams, and hopefully. But that's still a good win in my book. The Florida's not going to look that great on the stat sheet and everything. Obviously, once we get into the middle of the schedule, because they play Miami next week, and that one's probably going to be a shit show for them too. But it was still a good win. Florida's a good team. It's just I don't know what their scheduling was doing. That is the worst schedule ever. It is just back to back on the road. Like I honestly think their like most winnable game coming up is at home against Texas.
Yeah.
The other ones are just crapshoots, and luckily for them, Texas looks bad, and on the road in the swamp might not work out for them, but we'll see. So.
I guess the only thing I need from LSU is I need to see a blowout. I need to see them have a complete game, because even their game the week before, they had a really slow start, and this next week I just want them to blow it out, show who's boss, and move on, and I'll be good with them.
All right. On the other side of the things, the other team that beat Florida, not a great showing this week against Miami. And I think most of us saw this coming. Chance, I know you picked USF. You kind of had to.
Yeah, that's kind of why I did.
USF, I still think is a good team. They beat Florida at home. They beat Florida in the swamp. They absolutely like murdered Boise State. This is still a team that I think should be ranked. I don't know why they completely swamped them after getting blown out by the number 4 team in the country. Like it's Miami. Miami looks good this season. Like
they do.
I don't think USF should have fallen like they did. They treated them like a true group of 5 team. All that being said, they're going to work their way back into the rankings this year. They've as long as they control their conference, I think they're going to. Byron Brown, what's his name? Byron Brown. I always mess it up. Byron Brown looks great, and even though he did not have a great game, where there was a 2-hour weather delay, by the way, like in Miami,
that can massively affect things too.
Yeah, I think Miami's they've got it all right now, and I just think that's why they lost. Miami also they weren't looking ahead.
Clicking, dude. Miami is looking.
They weren't looking ahead like Florida was. Florida was probably looking ahead to the LSU game. Like, it's USF. Yeah. Who cares, right? They beat Boise State, whatever. Like Miami was like, they just beat Florida. We're not looking ahead. We're looking straight at these guys, and they're gonna stare down the barrel of our shotguns, and we're at home. It's not happening. That team looks all around good. Offensive line's fantastic. Quarterbacks plays really good. Running backs doing well. Defense solid. I don't see a weakness on Miami right now. It actually kind of scares me a little bit.
Guys, it's time. I have to make a public apology to this person. I besmeared you. I turned people against you. I said a lot of mean things. I was absolutely wrong. You have proven me wrong at every point in the season. Just held up your team, made them look fantastic. Granted, your offensive line definitely helps you, but you look like a legit Heisman contender. Carson Beck, I am so sorry. For the rest of the season, will only praise your name. You are the best player in the country right now.
Wow.
Well, okay, not the best player, but
I was like, dang, wow.
The second best player, probably. Second best player in the country right now.
Take a seat, Tommy Castellanos.
Okay. No. He's probably the second best player in the country right now. And he is just doing it all. And Miami has it all. After that game, I am really high on Miami. I think there's 2 teams in my mind that have just spoken to me that said, hey, these guys are legit, and Miami's one of them. Yeah, they haven't showed any weakness at all.
They look really good, and it's honestly really scary for anyone that's playing against them, especially in the regular season. So I'm really curious.
Every test, I got no complaints about them.
I'm really curious. The only game that I see on their schedule that I could see them losing is Florida State, because it's at Florida State. That is a crazy environment, obviously, as Alabama found out week 1. And that is the only game that I could see them possibly struggling. But honestly, they look like the all-around good team, and I think they're probably going to win that one too. So I think they're going to be the ACC champs.
That offensive line is so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Carson Beck has never looked more comfortable.
Yeah.
They're huge and they're good. at what they do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I've never been a huge Miami fan. I think a lot of times Miami fans have Nebraska fan vibes, but they're backing it up right now. They
Yeah.
really are. There
That's
have been a
really
lot of
good.
years. There has been several years in the last like 10 or 15 years where Miami has come out of the gate swinging and looked like they were going to do something, and that maybe like we all remember that year they started 10-0 and then they lost like 3 or 4 games in a row, and like that whole year that they were attending, like I just remember saying like these guys aren't real. Like it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look like the right kind of. Even though they were 10-0, I just didn't buy it.
No.
This team looks good. I
Yep.
got no complaints about this team as of right now. Offensively, defensively, they could beaten their first 3 games, beaten 2 ranked teams, and now they have a chance to go and hit one rivalry and then the other. I mean, the battle for the state of Florida, the three-way battle there. I mean, if Florida could be out for revenge, but they're not looking good. That looks like a winnable game right now. And then if they end up beating Florida State at Florida State, I mean, come on, what else do you need to see? They would have to collapse for the last 6 games of their season. They could even afford a slip up against an NC State or an SMU. They could afford to slip up there, and still their resume from the first half of the season has been so strong. But
yeah,
it's
one of
a
the
fun team to watch.
I'm one of the first like naysayers of Miami and
Yeah.
all those teams that constantly like, we're back, guys. Like USC, we're back. Texas, we're back. This year, Miami might be back. Genuinely.
Yeah.
How about them Canes?
That is a good team. I'm very excited for that Florida State game. I think it's in like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's man.
They got to get through Florida. They still got to get through Florida.
Don't look ahead. You know, Florida looked ahead. Don't look ahead, obviously. Florida's still a good team. And I think Florida has a better opportunity to win some of these games if they don't get a little bit impulsive and fire their coach in the middle of the season. I don't think that's always a good thing, because every time that happens, it like demoralizes your team. By the way, when your coach quits, there's a 30-day opening for people going into the transfer portal. So you could literally just abandon ship the second you do that. So I really think Florida, even though they are struggling and a lot of people are calling for Napier's head, don't fire him yet. See if they can win a couple of these games.
Isn't the buyout crazy for Napier?
$20 million, right?
Probably SEC. That's how it works. But you know, when people start screaming for it, it happens too. I mean, Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, they're still paying him.
Ed Orgeron.
I think they just finished paying him. Like, I don't know. It's not, So, oof. But on the other side of things, USF, they should be fine. You know, they have basically every one of their games for the rest of the season is going to be winnable. The only game I could see being a trap game is maybe Navy on the road. But outside of that, I think they're going to the American Conference Championship. It'll probably be against Tulane, who they don't play in the regular season because Tulane looks pretty solid. But they win that, they're the G5 spot. So, all right. And that is all of our big time games. Connor, you want to say anything before I go on a little rant?
No, because I think I know a couple of things you're going to talk about. So we'll get to it. I'll say it if you don't. So go ahead, please take it away.
First, some quick lowlights for some teams that are just not looking good right now. Virginia Tech. What the fuck? What happened? Old Dominion at home? 31-0 in the third quarter. I kept updating the group chat. I was like, it's 14-0. It's 21-0. It's 28. What is going on? Cookies. I don't know what you're doing there. That's terrible. At home, that's all I have to say about that.
They fired their head coach, didn't they?
You know, at that point,
if you have a quarterback that's as good as Kyron Drones, then like there's no excuse. Like that's just pathetic. By itself, he alone should be like, I could play offensive line for that guy, and he should be able to. He should be able to get some passes completed. That
is horrible. I can see having a little bit of a struggle against Old Dominion, maybe at Old Dominion, but at home and getting almost shut out until the fourth quarter. Horrible, dude. You should go to a FCS like conference at that point. That's terrible. Chance, you might not like this one. Utah at Wyoming. While this game ended in a blowout and Utah rightfully destroyed Wyoming at the end, at halftime it was 0-3. Yeah. So Utah had a very sluggish start against this team. So that definitely made me a little bit less intimidated by this Utah team. I'm very curious how they're going to do this week against Texas Tech. This is their first real test, as we saw that. We'll get to that. As we saw who they played are not very impressive right now. So Texas Tech hasn't played anyone impressive either. So it's really whoever wins this game is going to be the real deal of the Big 12 because the other teams are not looking good, as we talked about. This one makes me sad, guys. The Pac-12 truly is dead, and it's so sad. Obviously, Oregon State's struggling really hard, but Washington State, what are you doing?
Yeah. I was wondering if we were going to talk about this one.
59-10 at North Texas? What?
Go Mean Green?
What's happening? I was so sad at seeing that, dude. What? Oh man, all of those Pac-12 like late night Pac-12 games are just gone, guys. Like this, like the Pac-12 has been gone, but that is a nail in the coffin. That is so sad to see. And finally, the one that everyone's talking about, New Mexico at UCLA. The first coach firing of the season, UCLA. Congratulations, guys. Man, I honestly, at this point, I think UCLA should be able to sue Nico for absolutely just bombing their team. Like, he looks terrible.
For fraud.
Like, he looks terrible. Like sorry, they should be able to sue him for damages because wow. Like, how do you? Joey Aguilar transferred from UCLA to Tennessee, and look how he's playing at Tennessee. Who won the trade there, guys? Jeez, what are you doing, UCLA? You're the Big Ten. You were a Pac-12 team, and you can't beat two teams from the Mountain West. One that dominated you and danced in your end zone afterwards. Terrible. Connor, say what you're thinking.
Well, I'm just thinking about how right I was. That's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah, with your eye test, you really had some pseudoscience there, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, you were right about him. I will give you that.
How many I'll pull the old Colin Coward on this one. How many times do I have to be right?
Okay, Chance, we're gonna go get some clips from when he was very, very, very wrong.
There's so many. There's so many clips when he's so wrong.
God,
I don't want to watch those. Those aren't the ones I'm talking about.
We're gonna come back to Connor this week when after the result of the ASU Baylor test and see how he feels then.
We'll see.
You know what would be hilarious? If UCLA hired Dan Mullen.
or even better, what if they hired Herm Edwards?
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Let's see how that pans out with 71-year-old Herm Edwards.
Yeah.
I don't even think you guys would call that one a good move.
Some people love old coaches, like North Carolina. They love their old coach.
Yeah.
Some of their students really love their old coach. All right. Here's my true rant of the week, though. While this team won this week, and a win is a win at the end of the day, Friday was really tough for me because in our highlighted picks, I chose the U of A Wildcats.
Ugh.
Me. Someone who went to ASU. Someone who went to ASU picked the team from Tucson to win a game, mainly because Kansas State looked like frauds completely. And wow, it was proven this week. But U of A, man. Here, just for a little insight, guys. Just for a little insight into the mind of an Arizona sports fan. Arizona held Avery Johnson to under 90 yards in this entire game. They had a rusher, Ismail Ahmadi, run for 189 yards, basically averaging 10 yards per carry the whole game. And they won the turnover battle. And somehow this game went down to the wire. How? You know how? Do you want to know how? They missed 3 field goals. They had a muffed punt. They had a punt get blocked. They threw a pick on a flea flicker. And why are you even doing a flea flicker? Your running back is averaging 10 yards per carry, and you're not handing it off to him. He is literally pointing at the DBs trying to tackle him and laughing in their face because he is absolutely walking through this Swiss cheese Kansas State defense. He is laughing. And for some reason, you're like, let's throw the ball. Let's give the ball to our really tiny quarterback who loves to throw it to the other team sometimes. He looks great. Not to mention he reminds me of Kyler Murray, and we know how I feel about him. But what? Why? I was yelling at the TV. Why? Run the ball. You're up. There's a few minutes left. Run the clock. They can't stop you. He's averaging a first down per carry. Why are we throwing it? Why?
In Noah Fifita's defense, he has not recorded an interception this season so far, but his QBR is still 66.
He flirted with it this week. He's lucky that
I'm not saying he looked good. I completely agree. Like,
it was
Arizona,
basically 50%.
guys, like this is one of the worst 3-0s I've seen.
That was, oh man,
the fact that Arizona State has to sit there at 2-1 and be unranked, and meanwhile people are hyping up U of A now after that performance. I'm like, seething over one single play with 30 seconds left on the stupid clock in Starkville. Like, they're supposed to be number 8 in the country right now. You're telling me that Notre Dame made room for you? You're telling me that South Carolina made room for you? Alabama made room for you, Sun Devils.
No.
And now we have to watch U of A go 3-0. Come on.
That was good for them for winning the game. I feel for their fan base because I'm not even their fan. I was an honorary fan on Friday, and I wanted to slam my head into my desk repeatedly. I was like, run the ball. Run it. Why is it that complicated? I don't know who does their play calling. I don't know if it's their head coach or offensive coordinator. I don't know. But they're going to lose a lot of games because of him this year. If they don't just hand it off to who could easily have been a Heisman candidate if they just kept handing it to him. Like, he looks amazing.
They're going into Ames. They got a bye week this week, and they're going into Ames to play Iowa State. And yeah, Iowa State has looked vulnerable, but ultimately they are 4-0 right now, and we're pretty heavy favorites for the conference going into this.
My last thing I want to say, I'm not usually a fan of most announcers in this game, but Jason Benetti and RG3 had me literally cackling that whole game because they were making all these Office references. There was a time where the refs were reviewing an obvious call. It was so obvious that they were like, what are they even looking at? Why is it taking 10 minutes? What is there some sort of technical glitch? I don't understand. And they were just dogging on them. They had me absolutely cackling. That's the only bright side to me watching that game, honestly. So shout out to them. But wow, I'm not cheering for you guys. I'm not picking an Arizona team like that ever again. That hurt. That one hurt.
The only thing that's worse is that Kansas State, like, they don't look like they're going to win hardly. I don't have them winning against anyone the rest of the year. Like, I don't see who they could possibly be favored against. Maybe Oklahoma State. I don't see them making the bowl game at this rate. Yeah, did you see Kansas State?
Kansas State lost to Army.
Yeah, and they almost lost to North Dakota. Not even North Dakota State.
Terrible. They're not Oklahoma State bad.
Oklahoma State is looking rough, but they have the same amount of wins right now that K-State does. I mean, I'm talking like, do you expect them to beat UCF or Colorado? Do you expect either of those
I
can right now?
See them winning, but it's not. There's no gimmies. They're not a gimme to win any game, but I can see them winning.
No, there's a legit shot that they go 1-11 after being one of the top 4 favorites to win the conference.
Yeah,
like
sad.
There is an actual chance that happens. I mean, yeah. Is Oklahoma, but even Oklahoma State's on the road. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It could be Arizona on the road.
Yeah. I don't see them absolutely bombing like that, but they're fighting for a bowl game for their lives at this point. This is a team that was supposed to be in the Big 12 championship for a lot of people, and they're not. They were so fool's gold. I don't know what's wrong with Avery Johnson. He looks terrible.
Was that the last one that you wanted to mention from last week?
That's the last one. That's my last rant.
So we're not even going to talk about riding the green wave?
Oh, that was a highlighted game. Did you even watch that game, Connor?
No.
You didn't even bring it up until the next day. Me and Chance had talked about it for like probably 15 minutes.
I honestly, I was like, that was so, I mean, granted, I was working all weekend, so I was not paying, I was only paying attention to the big games because I was very busy, but yeah, let's go. Chance, how you feeling? I know they got a conference slate to go through, but Duke, man, how you doing?
Yeah, Duke's doing some Duke things right now with the turnovers and their silly plays. I mean, if they didn't have those, they'd be an okay team. The thing I'm most disappointed about is their defense was supposed to be just elite, and doesn't look that way. And
Dude, Mensa looked bad.
Mensah's made some mistakes, but he's putting up the numbers to keep them in at least. So if they can pick it up, I mean, they can lose as many out of conference games as they want to. I honestly don't care. They just got to win those ACC games.
Bad news is they only have one more out of conference game, and that's well over a month down the road. They are going right through the middle tier of the ACC from here on out.
Yeah, quick shout out to Chance for bringing me down with him. I literally right here have Tulane written into that, and then Chance talked about how they struggled against South Alabama, and I'm like, jump ship.
Ride the wave, baby.
Should have rode the wave. I would have been ahead of Connor. But instead we tied.
They did cool. But they played a great game.
Yeah.
Jake Ritzlaff, like I said, he's just the oddest quarterback because he'll win you some games and you're like, oh my gosh. And then he'll lose you a game against Kansas and you're like, what are you doing, Jake? And this year, apparently he's just a running back because he's just run for over 100 yards in so many games and has like 4 rushing touchdowns in a game. He's so mysterious and so bizarre. So the Green Wave have to ride him, and it'll give them the roller coaster of the ups and downs, and this was an up for them. So congrats.
That being said, I think is Tulane on a bye this week before going into Oxford?
No, they play Ole Miss this week.
That is this weekend?
Yeah, because I pitched it as a highlighted game, and you're like, no.
Yeah, let's I mean, you can add it back in if you want, but I respectfully I will be jumping off the wave this week.
No, we won't have that. I do have a little bit of beef with guys. Virginia. I pitched Pitt was gonna win. I was like, I don't know. I think West
Dude, what
Virginia.
the heck was that, Pitt?
I think, I was like, okay, they outvoted, and I would have had a no. Where
are we? Because I did pretty well this weekend, honestly.
Yeah, but you didn't pay attention to the group chat. We're tied, Connor.
Are we?
I got you on Vandy, South Carolina, and what's the other? Oh, obviously Arizona and K-State. You got me on Georgia Tech, Clemson. Thanks a lot, Club Nick, and obviously Tulane, Duke. So
yeah,
I almost had a near perfect week.
We're still tied. Still.
Chance had a bad week. Chance had a bad week, but he's got plenty of time to catch up because some of these games are going to be really hard to pick. So we might be ahead of Chance right now, but he might be ahead of us in a couple weeks, the way some of these games are playing out. So,
well, that was last week. There are some trends happening, and we're introducing a new segment called Buy or Sell. Chance, you follow the stock market quite closely. It's one of the things
I try to follow the stock market pretty closely, and sometimes
why don't we open a Concussion Protocol stock exchange, the CPSE? First trading session starts now.
Connor, we already are this close to being sued because of your terrible picks. I can't introduce more to the stock market. So we're not going to get into the stock market, but we'll get the stocks of college football teams. How about that? Sure. This is going to be more of a rapid fire segment just to talk about maybe some of these teams that don't get as much credit and deserve it, and then just maybe some trends we're seeing. So really quick, I've got stock up Cal and their freshman quarterback Sagaputulele. He's got a 67% completion rating, 6-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and he's averaging like 250 yards as a game as a true freshman. He looks good. And Cal, you better pray that you are able to keep him, because if so, you could be relevant in the next couple of years. But still, pretty good start to the season. Stock up Houston. Nobody's talking about Houston. They've looked solid so far. They've got a lot to prove, but they're actually on the up and up as a program. I don't see them competing a ton this year, but maybe we can reach a bowl game or do a little bit better and look towards the next couple of years where you've got a 5-star QB coming in to take over. You're not going to like this one, Chase. Stock down just slightly, just because the stock was so high on LSU. Just slightly, because I want to see the offense do a little bit better. And just because of what we talked about before, the scheduling and what's happened so far, I just need to see a little bit more, because the stock was like national championship. And I just want to lower a little bit right now. Stock up, another one we're not going to like, Nebraska. I think they actually look pretty dang good. The Cincinnati win is looking better, and Dylan Raiola, he looks unstoppable. Have you guys seen his stats? I mean, he looks really good so far. He's putting up Heisman numbers. Stock up. Memphis took care of a Troy team that Clemson couldn't take care of, and they've looked pretty good. Stock down. Iowa State at Kansas State win doesn't look good at all. Terrible. And they really struggle against Arkansas State. Everybody should have them on their pretender radars. Stock up. North Texas absolutely blew the crap out of Washington State. Wasn't even close. They've got 3 tough weeks: Army, South Alabama, and South Florida. But stock up on them. The Mean Green. Another one we're not going to like. Stock up on USC. Honestly, we should be talking about this team more. They look like a Lincoln Riley offense. Granted, they haven't played anybody, but there's no reason for us to have doubts to this point because they've looked really good offensively. Stock down Pitt. I was actually starting to get high on them. I was kind of watching them. I was like, man, I mean, they could have the best linebacking core in the country. I mean, they had quarterback issues last year. They've got it back. And then they just did this. And it reminds me of last year where they were like 6-0, ranked 2 in the country, and then lost the rest of their games. They're as inconsistent as ever. Don't count on this Pitt team. Stock way down. Virginia Tech. There's just no words. Moving on. Stock up. UCLA. Congratulations to your promotion to the FCS level. You guys might make the playoffs there. I'm excited for you. If you work really hard, you might win some of those games. Just kidding. UCLA, that's terrible.
The Big Sky revoked that. They said, no, we're not taking it.
Yeah. Did you see the Big Sky? They were like, man, we should move in the Big Sky. And Big Sky's like, yeah, we don't want you.
We don't want them.
That's pretty bad. Last 2, stock up to TCU. They blew out North Carolina, and they followed up with some pretty solid wins. I think we're maybe not looking as close as we should at that team. And then last one, stock up Ty Simpson. He has looked almost perfect this entire season. And honestly, if Bama can figure it out around him, I think that they can be a good team. It's not his fault so far that they've lost a game or looked the way that they have, because he has looked awesome. So that's your stock up and stock down for this week.
Love it. Thank you, Chance. That was awesome. That was well put. And I agree, especially on the Ty Simpson thing. Like, Bama has a lot to figure out, but and that's kind of weird because Bama the last couple of years with Jalen Milroe, quarterback's been their biggest question. And so now it's
Is there somehow a way we can play a clip of last week of what Connor was saying about Ty Simpson? Does nobody remember that?
I was saying he was great.
You were saying that he really needs to show out against this ULM team or whoever the crap they played. I can't even remember.
No, I said
he needs to show that he can prove it.
I said that he did that. I said that he was not, I specifically said it was nice to see him be able to show off, that he looked like he clicked. That's what I said.
We'll have someone look into it, but let's move on.
Is that why you guys were all upset because you were like misunderstanding what I was saying? I was saying from week 1, I at the Florida State game, I thought that he looked like the best part of that team.
Oh. You said that he needed to have a soft game because he needed to show that he actually had leadership and can prove that he can lead a team.
No, for the entire offense to look cohesive, that he was the only bright part and he wasn't enough to carry him through, so that he needed to have a game to gel. I'm not getting back into this with you guys. I've been let the record show that I have always, for this entire season, been perfectly fine with Ty Simpson. I've only ever said good things about him.
Let's move on. They played Wisconsin. They were supposed to win. It was at home.
My goodness. All right. That was week 3. Moving forward to week 4. Conference play starts for the most part. We have a lot of weirdly timed non-conference games, but this is the meat. We're into it. Chase, what are the first bites of meat that we got for this week?
So we're doing our highlighted picks.
Week 4 pick'ems, baby.
Week 4 highlighted games.
Big week. Big week.
I said some of last week's game were hard to pick, and then I picked pretty well, and so did Connor. But this week, wow, there's some hard ones to pick, guys. I don't think any of us are going to do really well this week, but let's see how it goes. Let's see. First game up. Big one for the Big 12. Let's see who's the big dog. Texas Tech goes into Utah. First big game of the year for both these teams. I want to hear from Chance first because he's the one that's been riding high on Utah.
This is a tough one because I'm notorious for saying Texas Tech. I'm high on Texas Tech too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also high on Utah, but I slipped up a couple weeks ago. It was the last week of the week before, and I said Utah would go undefeated into the BYU game. And I got to stick to that now. I think it's going to be a close game. I think defenses are really going to show out. But I think just being at home puts the edge for Utah. But both teams are going to be show out and do really well, I think.
Yeah, nope. I'm in agreement. I think in this game it's going to be really about whose defense can make a stop or two more. And Utah's at home. Utah, while they haven't played really anyone, in each of their blowout games, they've held their teams under like 10 points in each game. Like their defense is dominating and their offense is getting it done. So I think that Utah's going to take this game simply because of their defense. So
yeah.
One thing to look out for though, the front seven for Texas Tech, they've got some star players, some really good players up there. If they can load that up, they can get some good plays there. Utah doesn't have a down the field threat. And so everything's going to be close to mid. It's going to be Dampier running out of the pocket. If they can play to their strengths, Texas Tech, and they don't have to worry about that deep ball, that could be a turning point for Tech. Just something to watch out for.
This Devin Dampier kid is showing up. I mean, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, he really hasn't made any kind of egregious mistakes at all. Now, granted, again, the UCLA win does not look
unanimous
like anything
unanimous
to write
on
home
Utah,
about.
guys.
But through 3 games against inferior opponents, they have not shown any weakness.
Unanimous.
I think that they are having some hype around them now, and I think that this
one I really want to hear from Connor first because he seems pretty excited about this one.
With some momentum.
SMU at
being
TCU.
at home, Utah is a notoriously hard stadium to play at. Now, it's obviously not going to be cold this time of year. It's actually going to be lovely weather for a football game.
Have you given
Red
them
Raiders
any?
also have not really shown any weakness.
Have we
This
talked
is a
about them at
17
all?
versus 16, so like they are very evenly matched on paper. I give it to Utah though. No, I'm not very high on Texas Tech.
Their first game we didn't talk about them much because they were
Utah
playing
going into this.
podcast.
I made my thoughts on Kyle Whittingham in general known in kind of our first couple episodes, and so far they are proving me wrong. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really close game.
I'm just saying I don't think we've really talked about them that much just because of those things.
Solid. I'm picking Utah though, and I would love to see it. I do acknowledge that, and that's a really good observation to make, is that Utah's greatest strength also happens to be Texas Tech's defensive greatest strength. So it's kind of a battle of wills about who can execute better. And I again really think it's going to be a super intriguing matchup. And I got Utah pulling it off though. Just I'm a believer in what I've seen out of Utah so far. Close though.
Yeah.
All right.
It's hard for me to say.
Unanimous?
I like the way SMU looked in their game against Baylor, but Baylor's defense is atrocious. That was the one thing I noticed about Baylor in that game, is their defense was just terrible. And while I think Kevin Jennings is an amazing talent, and SMU is a solid team,
I am digging TCU this year. Chance, I think you were saying
really
just a second ago that we're not giving TCU enough credit. How much credit you want me to give them? I mean, they had an early bye, so
it's impressive, but I don't think that North Carolina.
No, I said they looked phenomenal,
either. And so it is really. This is probably.
Well, I mean, we didn't last week because they were going into a matchup against Abilene Christian, or no, were they? No, they were on a bye last.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of SMU fans showing up as well.
They've only played. We've only got 3.
How am I supposed to catch up if we pick all the same teams?
That was week 1.
It won't be all
against UNC.
Week, sure.
Yeah. No, I like TCU.
We've had 2 other episodes since then.
I think that they've shown a strong offense and defense. And I think it's going to be close. SMU is a good team, but
they were playing during it. But I have loved what I've seen. Josh Hoover is he's showing arguably to be even better. He was expected to take a big leap this year, and
this one
I've loved what I've seen out of them. Their defense has looked
great
good
SEC
against
matchup.
smaller sample size because they had that early
team
bye.
A little bit stronger this week. Auburn versus
But
Oklahoma.
I mean, this is the battle for DFW.
We saw what
so
Oklahoma
it is
can
gonna
do
be
at
a
home
very
against
mixed
Michigan,
crowd
and
both
they
ways.
controlled that game for the most part the entire time.
I mean, two different type of
barring,
offenses.
like,
Josh
one
Hoover
really
can
bad
move,
pick
but
and
obviously Kevin Jennings is
questionable special
known
teams,
for
but
being
I
the
think
dual threat, like
Oklahoma
the guy
is
when it
a
comes to
good.
dual
I
threat
think Oklahoma's a
quarterbacks,
great
at
team. I
least
think they're going to be
at least
definitely
at
in
the upper
contention for
levels
the
of
SEC.
college QBs right
And
now.
while Auburn is 3-0,
SMU had
having
a
solid
heartbreaker of a
opening for
loss
them.
to
I
another
like
Big
this Auburn
12
team.
team, another
They're not that
Texas
great at
team.
throwing the ball. You know,
They're
their
looking
quarterback's
for
much
blood
more run
right
dominant.
now.
Their team's more run dominant.
I'm just loving
and
what
their
I see
defense
from
is solid.
TCU,
But
though.
I just think that
I like them. I got TCU in
going
this
into
one.
Norman, playing against this Oklahoma team is going to be too tough for him. So I think
You don't think that he's going to have his revenge game?
That would be a great story for him to go into Norman and absolutely gut punch them. I would kind of love to see it, even though I do like Oklahoma this year, but I don't see it, man. I don't. Auburn competed really well against Baylor, but Baylor had an atrocious defense. So I think Oklahoma's going to take this by quite a bit.
I also like Auburn. I think they're a solid team. They've got some solid components to it. I love this Oklahoma team. Love them. I think they've got the moxie. They've got what it takes. Give me Oklahoma, and I think they're going to beat them pretty well.
Do it, Chance.
I need to catch up, guys.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. This game was a game that I was super excited for at the beginning of the season, and unfortunately, one team is trending downwards. Chance didn't feel the need to mention the loss of stock in this team, but that's because it's very notorious. Florida at Miami could have been a great game, and maybe Florida does have some antsy anger going into this game, wanting to beat their rival and spoil their season, but it's really hard to bet against this Miami team. I have Miami.
There's nothing else to say.
No. Prior to this last week, when Florida when they had just lost to USF, I was telling people, don't completely give up on this team. They're going to compete, but Miami has it all together, and they're at home. There's no reason for Miami to lose this game unless they channel some Miami energy from years past. This is the best Miami team I've seen in a while. So, yeah, so Miami unanimous. Here's where I think it does get a bit interesting. This is a notoriously more defensive.
I thought John Mateer was going to go into Oklahoma and be good, not great.
Illinois at Indiana.
My goodness, I have seen no weakness of any kind out of him yet. The guy is. He's shown himself to be a Mike Leach style
Indiana
WSU
is at
quarterback coming out of that program, and obviously the only bright spots about WSU was coming from John Mateer last year, and he took every single bit of that skill and brought it to Norman. And I got Boomer Sooner. Let's go. I think we're getting to it. I think we're getting to the spicy ones. There's one or two on here that I'm like, let's see where we go.
All right. Sticking with the trend of home teams, Connor. Look at you. I meant so far. But let's see. All right, Chance, you want to go or me?
I can go.
We've said everything we can say
Indiana,
about Miami already. So there's no reason whatsoever to doubt them in this
we still
game,
haven't seen them play anybody
other than that it's a rivalry and
since almost last year. I mean, they played two teams last year.
That's not a valid reason.
We have almost a season and a half of just not playing anybody. That it's so hard to gauge this team. I think they're good. I think they're legit. I just think Illinois is better and more legit. Give me Illinois, who returned 19 of their 22 players from last year and 20 of their 22 from the bowl game.
As of right now, there's
most
no
of their
reason
production, Connor.
There's the little jab. All right.
I'm getting after you when you said that they lost most of their production in the Big Ten preview.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say Hoosiers. I'll call it. And let me be abundantly clear so that you guys don't get on me for this. I have not seen anything to criticize about Illinois, and this is a hard game.
Chance was right on Illinois. He has them in the playoffs.
But something about the way that Indiana plays,
bracket, which
I'm like,
to be fair, is way too early for any of us, and isn't looking good for any of us right now.
They just look organized. They look like they're ready to go. They don't. Their wins so far, They have not looked like they have put much effort into these wins.
If this is a close game, I think Indiana could take it, but
vastly inferior competition.
Indiana's played nobody. Like Chance said, it's been a season and a half.
Nothing.
They've played nobody and won. They have no good wins.
Not that I'm
Their
doubting
best win
Illinois,
is a 20-15 win against Michigan.
You're asking me to pick?
They didn't go into the big house and beat Michigan. They won at home by 5, and that was a bad Michigan team last year. So
I think I got 1 or 2 aways on here. Well, there's definitely one away team on here that I have.
I guess they put up a little bit of a fight against Ohio State and put up a fight against Notre Dame, who ended up going to the championship, but all their wins are against nobodies, man. It's like UCLA last year, Indiana State this year, Kennesaw State. Yeah, Old Dominion obviously just walked the Hokies, but dude, there's nothing that gives me any reason to have any hype for this team. You know, no, they have the weakest schedule in football, quite honestly. I'd pick Illinois. So Fighting Illini all the way. So no, I respect it.
I respect the pick too.
Yeah, it could go that way. They could surprise.
I think they're a good team.
I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're at Illinois' level right now.
Sure.
All right.
Connor, you asked me to pick. I think this matchup is very even. You asked me to pick.
This one makes me nervous. I know how I called it at the beginning of the season, but
I
want to do that after week 2.
That was a misspeak.
ASU goes on the road to play against
really
Baylor.
Well. Like they brought in a bunch of transfers from
I'm wearing Baylor green right now, boys.
A lot of elite
How do we feel about
FCS
this
players?
How do we feel about this game?
I guess I should have.
Big 12 opener for ASU.
I shouldn't have spoken so soon. Yeah. All right. I can see it. I can absolutely see it. You asked me to make a pick. I'm making a pick. Oh man. Both.
I was about to say he's buying time right now, Chance. He hasn't even
that they could
yet.
win or lose any game. Baylor's defense is atrocious. That being said, ASU should, by every conceivable metric, they should be a top 10 offense in every category in the country. They should have the quarterback.
This is a hard game.
They should have the wide receiver.
Really hard game for me to
and
pick
they should have the
honestly,
running
both
backs.
Teams
but it wasn't until just last week
can lose
against
any game,
Texas State
and they can win any game
that they finally looked
nuts.
Like a good team, and I mean a good
Baylor. You have to
team.
be.
I have yet
so
to see excellence out of that.
About that run defense, and
very clear.
Honestly, ASU is going to walk.
Fanatical as I am, I also accept the reality.
They're going to run it down your throats.
That was not a walkthrough of a game. They looked way better, and I will say, in their defense too,
Sawyer Robertson
Kenny Dillingham is not normally a coach to run up the score.
I mean, he
by
default he's going to be a Heisman
play
contender
that was
just because he's going to just every single
receiver
game
right at the end where
my concern
he had 5 yards on this
ASU is going to produce enough
and Levitt put it
to keep
right in his hands
Baylor.
And he literally just
they're going to put up a lot
through
of
his fingers. So
it
should have been an even higher score. And the one touchdown
if I'm
they
looking
got
at
late
Sam
in
Levitt
was
85th
that was
in
definitely
QBR.
a garbage time touchdown that
he's
they really
got
were
5
just
touchdowns to 3 interceptions.
Keep it short, burn the clock as much as we
sacks.
can. You can let him score if you want, kind of
thing. If Baylor can
just
find a way to
Dillingham
get them,
is not that kind of guy to
out of a couple of drives,
go 70 to
that
0
might be
or
enough.
whatever.
And I think that's where I'm going.
So I'm not super worried about that. They looked the best, certainly the best that they've looked all year last week. But Baylor's offense is insane. It's going to be.
Yeah, but
I'm picking ASU. Obviously. Yeah, no, obviously I'm going with the Devils on this one, but it could go either way because everything that I've seen for the inconsistencies in ASU is you can say the exact same things about Baylor. So somebody else start talking before I spend the next 45 minutes philosophizing on this matchup.
Well, here's my problem with ASU is they've only played Mississippi State and they've played 2 other teams that have not been good. And even then, Sam Levitt looked better last week, but he isn't looking spectacular by any means. And he got sacked 3 times against Texas State. 3 times. It's not all Sam Levitt's fault. That offensive line cannot pass block to save their lives. Yeah, they can run block. They can't pass block. And so here's my problem with ASU and what I see happening in this game is that ASU is going to hit. They're gonna score a bunch of touchdowns, but they're gonna have some drives where Sam Levitt gets sacked. You can't just run the ball to get the first down after he gets sacked for 10 yards. And so they're gonna punt the ball or he's gonna throw an interception. And that those couple of drives that he doesn't get the first down because he got sacked because he threw an interception, that's gonna make the game. And Baylor's going to score too many points to put it out of reach.
Connor,
I will say for Sam Levitt, again,
Connor,
that was kind of the biggest
really
difference maker
respect you.
watching that game is Sam Levitt
I really respect
finally
the amount of grit
looked
you're
like
showing
he
to
was
stick
having
with the
fun
team that you're
playing
literally
football.
wearing the shirt for.
He did not the first 2 weeks, and I'm not saying, I'm just saying like I think
what
that he's got a little bit of
talked
his
about on the other
swagger
side of
back.
things with
He
with
looked
U of
like
A,
he was
and even just
like
in the
he
NFL this week
enjoyed
when I watched
his job. I
Arizona
think that
almost
the
choked
first
a
2
game against the
games,
Carolina Panthers.
there was so much
it's
pressure on him
Arizona teams
to be
man,
like the
every
golden
time
child,
I put my heart
and
and soul
there was
into
so
these
much
teams,
pent up from
they
the off
stomp on
season,
it.
and
They just stomp
I
on
think
it
that he
and they
was
leave
nervous.
me in the
Now,
shadow
I'm
in
not
the
saying
fetal
it's going to
position,
be
just
enough to
absolutely
be like
just
that he's
losing it. And
so I'm like amazing and he's back into the
here's
Heisman
where I think ASU
conversation,
could
but
win this game.
yeah,
And I
it's
think it's
but Sawyer
honestly
Robertson is
how to beat Baylor
ridiculous.
in
Like, I
general
mean,
is
he's
you
going to
have
put
to
up numbers
establish
against
the
anybody,
run,
and there's
and
certainly a
you
better
have to
passing game
limit
than
how
Mississippi
many
State
times
that's
Baylor's going to
built
get
for
the
a
ball. You
passing
need to
game.
limit their possessions and
So
take
they
long
got to be on their toes.
drives running the ball. But to do that, you have to basically tell Sam Levitt, you're not getting any stats this game. You got to tell Jordan Tyson, you're not getting any stats this game. And you just got to commit to the run. And that is their best chance to go on the road and keep that crowd quiet and win this game. But do I think they're going to do that? That's the thing. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to try to get Sam Levitt some confidence. I think some mistakes are going to happen on the offensive line or Levitt himself.
Which is crazy because their running backs, their running game is unstoppable.
At the beginning of the season, I think Baylor takes this game.
I do not understand.
I was high on both teams. I thought it was going to be ASU Baylor in the Big 12 championship. I thought it was going to be a rematch, but because it was a neutral field, that ASU was going to take it in the rematch. But this one, it's so hard to say that an ASU team is going to go on the road and win this game. I have to take Baylor. I'm so sorry. It hurts, but I take Baylor. Oh, and honestly, I do it mostly because it feels like a win-win. Is either I'm fucking wrong and I hope I'm wrong. I hope ASU wins out, man. I do. But at least if I'm right, I get a point, I guess. I would take the loss, honestly. Correct? I will take it, but let's move on before I start crying. Anyway. Oh, prove me wrong, Devils. Prove me wrong. All right. Michigan, Nebraska, boys. Who you got?
We are picking this one.
Yeah. You guys outvoted me, so I respect it. So.
Oh. I think this is a relevant game.
Okay. Chance, do you want to go first or you want time to
who remind me who's at home again? It's at Michigan.
It's Nebraska.
Oh, at Nebraska.
Yep.
Hold on, I gotta type this up on my little spreadsheet.
Let him take his time. Connor, you go first.
Yes.
Come on, football. Play football. Wow, Connor. Okay. Chance, you want me to go? Okay.
I mean, I get it. I do.
You had them as a playoff team, didn't you? Michigan? Both of you did.
Nah. Actually, I had them losing to Oklahoma at the beginning of the year.
But you still had them at a playoff team.
Yeah, because I said that they were going to magically beat Ohio State like they always do. Yep. So basically the two losses I had for Michigan were very reasonable. They were on the road against Oklahoma and on the road against USC. So both teams that are trending up right now. So those could very well happen. I don't have them losing this game. Michigan all the way. Go blue. Give it your chance.
I don't know who to pick. I didn't pick this game because
I'm sorry. Ready. You guys did outvote me, so I overruled my opinion and said, okay, we'll go with it. So
no, you're good.
I should have put something in there, but
this is a tough game for me to pick. Though.
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking me,
I don't
now.
There's things I like about both teams,
give
but there's
Nebraska
things I don't like.
Any amount of credit, but
the problem is
Michigan.
I
was thinking
so
that
many times
this year they would be better than they were last year, but so far they're looking like they're going to be the same as they were last year, and that next year get that Bryce Underwood guy a year in the system.
Nebraska.
They got a solid running back, but it's kind of starting to look like the running game is good because the pass game is bad,
horrible
rather than because they're back to having a really good running game. So, Nebraska.
Yeah, so
mostly
according
because
to the internet,
it's about dang time,
keep
Nebraska.
So they would love to see me be
Just
wrong.
poke it with a stick.
Because
do something.
Anyone who has ever said anything even lukewarm about
Come
Nebraska
on, play
is
football.
obviously an idiot. So even though they haven't done anything in 30 years.
So Nebraska, just because
Texas fans don't like me, so we're good.
Texas fans don't like anybody. So I don't even think they like other Texas fans, quite honestly.
No, I want Michigan to win,
anyway,
but I
think we'll do it.
Maybe I'll regret.
There's a big of a question mark in this game because we don't know if Lenore Sellers is going to play.
They should win doesn't mean they will.
It doesn't change my outcome.
But it is a big game for the SEC.
Yeah, but that was before.
That
was before Oklahoma
in the playoffs, having a decent record. But wow, Vandy just walked through them, and I get it. The injury happened right at the second half, and their backup was not ready, clearly. But they're losing their offensive coordinator to, I think it was Appalachian State or whatever. I think that hurt them in the offseason, and their offense has not looked good in any game so far. So I'm gonna go with Mizzou. They're at home. They played really well against Kansas in the second half or second quarter and on. So I think Mizzou, they've been looking a little consistent. They've already got a rivalry win. I think they could take it. So most years, that's probably not what I would go with, but
I can't imagine watching the show and not having heard or seen our playoff brackets before and hearing it now. They must sound terrible. We must have been. Oh man. We did not do well on those playoff brackets. Yeah, I've doubted this South Carolina team, who I did not have in my playoffs. Kind of from the get-go, after I saw that they just didn't come out the gates shining, and I don't think they're that good. I think they're gonna finish like 7-5, 6-6. I think that's really where they're at. So, and Missouri, we keep doubting them every single year, and they just keep proving us wrong. So give me Missouri.
Don't do that. You know, Clemson already stole enough of our shit. We don't need Mizzou doing it too. Dude, during that Clemson game, they literally started playing the same song we played during touchdown, and I was like, oh my fucking get something of your own. Come on. Anyway, I digress. That is all of our highlighted picks for the week. Week 4 pick'ems is in the books, boys. You got this. Yeah,
that's the nature of college football, man. Yeah, it's the double-edged sword of the sport. Yeah,
you got it.
Same. There's no possible reason after what we've seen out of South Carolina, especially now that they're obviously their only best player is out, and the Tigers apparently they're good. Okay, I mean I'll take it. It's going to make the SEC interesting. Hopefully, but yeah, go Tigers. Go third string Tigers in the SEC. The third best team with the name Tigers in the SEC.
You just love the UNLV. What can I say?
All right. There's going to be a couple of distinct tiebreakers in this one, it looks like. So before we get into our nightcap segment, we'll go into the Vegas picks of the week. Which I'm really nervous for all of a sudden.
That's a good pick, Connor.
I had been doing pretty good overall the first couple weeks, and then I didn't expect Oregon to be so bored. Like I thought Oregon was going to want to show off. They didn't care at all. They were like, "No, just get us out of here. Get us back to Oregon. I don't care that I'm playing in one. I mean, it's an ugly football stadium, but it's like the stadium itself at Northwestern is gross, but like
Miami,
it's
Ohio,
right on
only
Lake
had
Michigan. It's a beautiful venue overall. It was a gorgeous day.
It's not a zero. Like, oh, they almost scored. Like it was a zero. Like they did nothing.
They dropped 2 spots in the rankings
and against a bad Wisconsin team. So I
let them thinking that they played poorly. They didn't play poorly. They just didn't care. I don't care. So, anyways, I was dead wrong last week, but this week. Hoping to get back on track. My faith is gone in Clemson. That doesn't mean I don't think they're going to win against Syracuse, but I got Syracuse beating the spread. The spread is plus 17.5 right now. I think Clemson is struggling right now. It's at Clemson, but Syracuse has shown themselves to be able to stick around with some people. So yeah, got Syracuse just beating the spread, playing a little bit closer than they're given. UNLV, for some reason, is not a very big favorite against Miami, Ohio, which Miami, Ohio, they're a very good. They're one of the top MAC teams, but they're not good. And yeah, I see you smirking over there, Chance, because fine. Apparently, I mean, they have not shown any reason to doubt them. So I've just got straight money line UNLV. It's predicted to be a pretty close game. They're only minus 130 on the money line. So and they're in Miami, Ohio, but like, if they continue to show themselves to be a competent team, there's no reason to think that they can't beat Miami, Ohio, who played Wisconsin pretty close, but like, is Wisconsin. Their defense is notorious.
I actually had a different one slated for this week.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised they got shut out, but I don't think that
we
17-0
this one just
for
feels
a
it's a
MAC
feel
team?
good. It's a feel good
not a
segment
blowout.
this week. So all right. As I do every week because I just suck at keeping it to the list.
Yeah, but
I
their
had to have one
defense
honorable
ultimately
mention. One honorable mention, and that is Trevor Lawrence and the Clemson Tigers absolutely throttling the Alabama Crimson Tide in the 2018-2019 national championship.
UNLV money line.
For a while, that was one of my favorite games I had ever watched.
Yeah, I got Oklahoma beating the spread in their win.
It was
I
so
got
beautiful,
Oklahoma winning
and it
against
made me have
Auburn by
respect for
more
Trevor
than 7
Lawrence
points. It's going to be
I love that
a
he
more
came in
than
as a
7
freshman
point
and did that
victory on that one.
to
That
Nick
brings
Saban's
us
Crimson
to
Tide at the highest
3
level.
picks on that parlay. That's plus 553. So similar to last week,
but
you put in $20, you're going to get 130 out of it.
All
so
right.
I like all these. Let's hope to get back on track.
It was hard. There's a lot of great moments.
The Vegas
number
picks
5
of the week. If I see anything else that jumps out at
Joe
me,
Burrow's pick 6
as the week goes on, I'll put it on our Instagram story and whatnot.
The 2019 Fiesta Bowl against USF.
Social media as well.
And I know how that sounds.
Okay.
You're like, why would you want your favorite quarterback of all time?
Nightcap segment is becoming more and more fun.
Oh, my bad.
UCF. You got a fun one. You got a really cool one this week.
Fiesta Bowl game.
Us off on
a game that I attended myself because I was here in Arizona.
We got some near and dear, some kind of sentimental.
Boy, did he not know that he was bringing me to
sport
see
that is
the future national championship team
for breaking our hearts
and my favorite quarterback,
making our spirits soar on the Eagles' nest. But
Joe Burrow throws a pick.
We're going to talk about. We're going to reminisce. We're going to talk about the good
in the first quarter
right now. We're going to talk about the good in the world. The light
goes to try to tackle a guy, gets absolutely
keep you watching,
murdered by a defensive.
We're going to talk about our top,
and then has a linebacker stand over him,
personal
shit to his
not
face.
ranking the
and
overall.
What does Joe Burrow do?
College football. The most
After that pick six,
us,
he comes
our
back.
top 5 favorite personal college
with
football
the crazy stat line. He goes 19 of 28 for 363 yards.
Take it away.
Has 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And what happened next season after that? I think we all know what happened that next season. Thank you, UCF, for doing that. I appreciate it. Thanks for waking the sleeping giant. Love it. Number 4. Oh, I remember where I was for this too. I was at Zips on Mill for this game, and I think Connor might share some sentiment on this game. The Jail Mary against USC. Jalen Strong and Mike Bercovici at the end of the game. USC's already celebrating. They got it in the bag. And oh my God, this bomb of a throw. The safety is doing whatever he's doing, and Jalen just walks in front of him, takes a touchdown, knocks USC off. And that was, oh my God, such a beautiful moment. The entire bar was losing their mind, screaming, going, ASU. Amazing game. Love that. Number 3. This one might be in the top 5 all time. The kick 6 in the Iron Bowl. Wow. Wow. Like I said in one of our first episodes, when we were talking about how excited we were to do this podcast, the kick 6 came to mind. Where I was at a friend's house with my dad, USF. With his family. And when this happened, I lost my mind. Screaming, running down the street. Down goes Bama. Oh man, Auburn. I have some love in my heart for Auburn for how many times they have played spoiler to Alabama. That was such a great moment. 109 yards running it back. I still hear the announcer saying it. Such a beautiful moment. Number 2, we're back. We are back to that season. LSU. And it is not as, I don't think this is a highlight that most LSU fans had. Most of them probably would have had like the Georgia game or maybe Oklahoma, even Auburn, I guess. But mine came against Alabama. Shocking, right? At the end of the first half, we had like a minute left. Joe Burrow throws this short throw, nonetheless, to Thaddeus Moss. and Thad Moss was originally out of bounds, got his feet in bounds at the 1 yard line, and that catch went to review. And in most games against Alabama, when a call goes to review, you know exactly what's going to happen, and Alabama's going to get that call. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt. And boy, did they not get that in this game. They gave us the touchdown. It was a touchdown. Shout out to Thad Moss, son of Randy Moss. Amazing play. That was the moment. That was the moment that I was like, this team's got it. This team is, a ton of people loved the Texas game. That was a great moment for them. But wow, this is the moment. I was like, we're knocking off Bama. I was like, the refs aren't bailing them out. We got this. And boy, was I right. And my number one, you got to stay consistent, was LSU winning the Natty against Clemson. I was at this same bar, different location, watching this game, and boy, man, I started bawling. There was still like 5 minutes left on the clock, and I'm sitting there bawling my eyes out in a bar. There was actually these younger, probably bandwagon LSU fans sitting very close, and they're like, dude, this kid's losing it, man. I was like, I just watched my team suffer for 10 years, and now I just watched them have the most perfect season I've ever seen of football. And it was such a surreal moment. I bawled my eyes out. I cannot beat that moment. I was so elated. Definitely my number one. Just love, amazing game. But that's my list of top 5 favorite moments. Yeah, it woke Joe Shiesty. Yep. Clemson was 29-0 going into that game the last 2 seasons. They were really good. I was at the comeback game that they had against Ohio State. I was at both the times they played them in the playoffs. That was a good team. Mm-hmm. A little fun fact for that game. I was at that game, but if you go, I think it's in.
I love it, man. Those are all good ones, maybe. And I knew that I didn't put the kick six on mine because I knew that one of us was going to bring it up. I had a feeling.
My dad's an Oklahoma fan.
It's just that legendary of a play.
And obviously,
and you're absolutely justified in putting 3 different 2019
on my dad,
LSU plays on there. I guess technically one was 2018.
He's standing next to me, and then you have an Ohio State fan here and a Clemson fan there. You had all of them right there.
There's a reason, man. Yeah, the 2019 LSU. I mean, you can say this about any given championship team except 2020 Alabama.
I also have an honorable mention
that they were one of the best teams that ever stepped foot on the field. But genuinely,
say what?
There was no offense that we've ever seen that was like that team.
Well, mine comes because I don't want people to think that I hate my own team.
The defense was good, but not like.
Well, I don't ever talk about my team, so I should.
And I don't think
I have to throw something
about that.
Right?
And so usually the saying is that
honorable mention.
Offense wins
this
games,
is for
defense wins
BYU
championships.
fans. It's
but
Beck to
that's just how good that offense was.
One of my
that it was
memories.
Just
it's the end of the game.
They're
on like the 5-yard line.
And
last play.
Joe Burrow is obviously now
they hike the
consistently
ball,
one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Both
the
of
quarterback
those
is
big-time
just,
receivers.
He can't find anybody. He's shuffling. He's going left, right, looking at all his options. He can't find anybody. The defense starts to collapse on him. He's going to his far right, and he finally finds somebody.
Beautiful as Chase. Well done.
Throws
Chance
to the end of the end zone, and there's one person there.
Yeah.
Nobody else. There's just one person.
And they deserved it. They were also incredible. Those were legendary teams
and just
from Clemson.
Catches on these, and game over. And we all flipped out. It was
Ohio State.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. But it was stressful because that play, I'm sure it only lasted like 8
Clemson,
seconds.
Like, that's
it seemed
how
like it lasted like 2 minutes
that team
of him
was.
Shuffling and looking for options. And it was like,
Clemson
oh my gosh,
in
he's
their
sacked.
prime.
No, he's out of the sack. No, he's sacked
flustered.
again.
Trevor Lawrence, who had almost a lot of people thought that he should have been the Heisman the previous 2 years.
Number 5.
Just
this
how
play
good that team
just was. It was so funny to me. This game, Central Michigan against Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State punted the ball, thinking it was going to take just enough time to run out the clock against Central Michigan. It left them just 1 second left, and Central Michigan ran this play where, I have no words to describe. I don't even know how it happened, but right at like the 5-yard line, it shouldn't have even gotten this close, but right at the 5-yard line,
tell us how it is.
There's this angle of the Central Michigan player. He's going like this, and you can see the OK State guy going after him, and he tackles him and rolls him almost into the end zone and barely has enough to catch that and make the touchdown. So that was an awesome game. Shout out to Central Michigan. Should have never won that game, but did. Good on ya. Number 4, another one where it's like, how most of these are like, how did the other team win? And Michigan State blocking Michigan's punt for the touchdown at the last second. How this happened and how it's fathomable, I have no idea. I wanted Michigan to win, I think, that year. And good on you, Michigan State, to block it and return it, because that is the only conditions that they can win, was blocking it and returning it. And somehow Michigan just collapsed in that moment.
I can still
Another
hear that
Michigan one.
broadcast as
Sorry,
well.
guys. Say what?
I could still hear that broadcast as well. On the last play of the game, just
it was crazy. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Man, Michigan fans are not going to like me, because my number 3 is App State blocking the field goal. Oh my gosh! Because at that point, that was there's still not an upset that was worse than that in the history of football. That has to be the greatest upset. A top 5 Michigan team at home losing to an FCS team. Crazy. And the guy wanted to run it all the way back for a touchdown off that play. Yeah. Crazy. Nuts. Number 2, probably my earliest memory of football was Vince Young in the national championship. What a killer game. And maybe 2 of the best teams of all time going against each other. And at the end, just Vince Young willing his team at the last second to win that game was incredible. All the photos, the videos of that were just awesome. And then number 1, the kick 6. Just we've already heard it. Awesome play. I mean, you can't get better than beating Alabama at the buzzer.
There goes Davis.
Go Chippewas.
I mean, yeah. Nobody even saw that coming. I mean, it's even lucky that his foot wasn't out of bounds when he caught the ball. Like, that close to it not happening. But it happened, and it was awesome. So those are my top 5 moments.
Yes, State has built like their entire App State has built like their entire program for the last 20 years off of the momentum from that play. I love it. That was I mean, there's a reason that they're legendary plays, you know? I mean, it's it doesn't matter what your fandom is, you know, your fan base that you claim. These are the things that make this sport special. These are the things that like you wake up on the Saturday morning, you're like, let's go. It's time. Who knows when the next one is going to be? Who knows who's going to do it this year? Who knows what's going to happen? And it is always interesting. It's always awesome. And is it going to be your team? Does it matter some days if it's your team? Man, it's that's what it's about. All right, I'll wrap it up. And yeah, this is my first honorable mention, guys. I have not had but I am noticing a bit of a trend, and I think you guys are going to see it, because there's a couple of seasons that are really standing out in all of our collective memory. But first one, honorable mention. A couple of these picks really kind of shaped my me as a college football fan. I grew up with season tickets to Arizona State, but I will be the first one to acknowledge that between like 2003 to 2012, and I was really in kind of my formative years as a kid, like, they were not great. They had like a couple of good years. They were the home team, fun to watch. But what really turned me into like a football fan was 2 teams, and really one team and one player. I loved watching Tim Tebow. I just did. I mean, he was so much fun to watch, just everything about him. Honorable mention is his win over Alabama in 2009, that SEC, one of the inaugural conference championship games. I mean, just what a beautiful game. I mean, it was start to finish. I mean, it was just the quintessential, everything that made him the special kind of player that he was in that game. The grit, the rushing, the passing, the patience, the passion to just get up there and just be screaming. I mean, that energy out of a quarterback. I mean, it's there are few that have ever been like him, and few that will ever be able to have that hype and still be able to have the composure to make the kind of plays that he did. And yes, one versus 2 in the conference championship, it was absolutely gorgeous. Just a beautiful game through and through. And the final score showed that it was a little bit further apart than it actually was. I mean, it was 31-20, I believe was the final score, but that was a very close game overall. And that was Alabama, like when they were on the rise, and it was the end of one era as far as the end of the Urban Meyer Florida dominance era going into the Nick Saban era. And it was like, let me give him this one last lick in before we pass the torch over to the Crimson Tide for the next decade. It was just beautiful. Love that player. Love those teams. Getting to the main part of the list, though, my number 5 and my number 4 are happened on the same day. The same day in 2018, October 20th, 2018. I remember it distinctly. I was on my first deployment. I was in Syria. We were in a middle of nowhere sandbox in the war-torn nation of Syria. We had to have our water trucked into us every day. We had to burn all of our trash. It was not a fun place to be. And all of our trash, I mean, including in the bathroom. I mean, it was rough. But the one thing that we had was we had really good satellites. We were the Air Force. We had the uplink, so we had TV. And sitting in the tent when it was just not a time, like, I'm grateful for the experience, obviously, but it was not the kind of place that I wanted to. That we were having a good time. We weren't partying every day. It certainly wasn't a tailgate environment, but man, we loved Saturdays when we were out there because we could watch football, we could bond over it. It was a good time. And number 5, Purdue over Ohio State. That Ohio State team, they didn't win the title that year in 2018, but man, they were good. They were real good that year. And their one loss in the regular season was to Purdue. Don't claim either of them, but it was a blowout win. It was like 45-20 in Purdue. And they had like the most, I mean, it was the sweetest guy that was like he was like dying of cancer. Like he died like literally a month later, but he said his one dream for the rest of his life was to have the Boilermakers upset Ohio State. And boy, they played like they were men possessed that game. Not only was it taken down Ohio State, but it was taken down by the tiny underdog, and it was for a good cause. It was beautiful. Just a masterpiece of a game. Everything that college football should be as far as the unpredictability. And Purdue then went on to, like, I think they lost to Northwestern like 2 weeks later. I mean, it was not a good team. But they had their moment in the sun, and there is nothing that I love more than seeing the little guy do that, especially for a good cause. On the same day, October 20th, 2018, another massive upset that was kind of a defining moment in Pac-12 history. Washington State beating Oregon. That was Gardner Minshew. Let me make sure that I have my facts straight here. I believe that was over Justin Herbert, but I could be wrong. I think that was Justin Herbert. But yeah, Oregon was doing everything they could to make their case for being one of the top 4 teams in the country that year, and they looked every bit of the part. And everybody was like, "Oh yeah, Washington State, you're so cute with your air raid offense, and it's not going to work." And it had been however many hundreds in a row game days that Wazoo had planted their flag, and they finally got it. They finally got game day to go to Pullman, and they partied on the Palouse like crazy. And it was massive, and then they won. They did it. They took down the Ducks in Pullman at that small. It was like that field is only like 24,000 people in that whole stadium, and it was glorious. It was gorgeous, and they did not make it to the championship. They were not one of the top 4 teams because in typical Wazoo fashion, they blew it. The affectionately known as Couging it up here in the Northwest, they couged it hard the rest of the year. But in that moment, they had their day. And I don't even dislike Oregon. Like, I'm perfectly fine with Oregon. I like them a lot of the time. But man, just nothing encapsulates it. On the same day as Purdue over Ohio State? Come on now. What a magical day. Just glorious. I love it. Then, man, maybe I shouldn't say so much that I dislike Oregon, because my next pick is an Oregon loss as well. But this is my first ASU pick.
Priorities.
Number 3, ASU over number 6, Oregon in 2019. Jaden Daniels' freshman year. First time a true freshman had ever started. A lot of people like to even forget that he even played at Arizona State, a fact that I never will forget for the rest of my days. Did you guys know, I think we talked about this earlier, that there was a year that Arizona State had Jaden Daniels, Ricky Pearsall, and Brandon Ayuk on the same team, and that team barely squeaked out an 8-win season with the 8th win coming in the bowl game in like one of the most lackluster, boring games that you'll ever see. Just what could have been for this program in that era and in so many other eras. But on this one day, 3-4 ASU hosts 7-0 number 6 Oregon Ducks. My wife and I were still dating at the time, and she can't stand football most of the time. She just finds it wasn't raised with it. She had fallen asleep in my lap, like with her head resting on in my lap, and it was like 10 o'clock, and the game goes and just back and forth the entire time between these two electric quarterbacks. And last drive, Jaden Daniels just throws like a 30-yard bomb, and I forget who he completes it to, but that was it as time expires, and down go the Ducks, and ASU pulls to, I believe that pulled them to 4-4 on the season, and they finished, I don't even know if they made a bowl game that year, but just a bad team doing it and showing the potential of what Jaden Daniels. Obviously didn't do that at ASU. And in LSU got to have him for the Heisman years, but in that one shining moment, and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, now wife, was asleep in my lap, and I literally jumped off the couch so bad that she fell on her face on the floor and was like, "What was that?" And she just wrote, and she has not watched many games with me since then. And I think I called my mom after that. It was like the middle of the night. I was like, "Mom, they did it." It was so good. Like, there was nothing to cheer about that entire year, but the Devils did it on that day, in that moment. Number 2, the other kind of formative years. I believe I was in the 5th or 6th grade, can't quite remember, but the 2007 Fiesta Bowl, Boise State Broncos, culture-defining game for college football. It had everything. It had the most underdog. It had a quarterback that really wasn't as good as he seemed. I mean, Jared Zabransky, I don't think he might have gotten, I think he got like invited to a camp and then played like 2 years in the CFL, but his grit was just there in college, and that's all that matters when you're playing in college. But I mean, they had Orlando Scandrick, who might be a Hall of Famer in the NFL one of these days, eventually, not a first timer, but I mean, he had an amazing NFL career. He had Adrian Peterson for Oklahoma. I mean, it was star-studded. The little guys versus the absolute giants of Oklahoma. Fiesta Bowl, all the trick plays you could imagine, back and forth scoring, defense, offense. It was many people, including myself, do claim, arguably, but I will say, I think that's the greatest college football game that's ever been played. I mean, just if you want a definition of what the sport is about, that I just want to call him Ian Johnson, the running back for Boise State, going and proposing to his cheerleader girlfriend right after the game gets done. It literally doesn't get better than that in this sport. If you don't feel anything watching that game, I don't care if you're the biggest U of I fan that's ever lived, who hates the guts out of Boise State. Even Oklahoma had to admit, like, that's a pretty fun game. And probably one of their heartbreaking moments, but they weren't playing for the title anyway because the BCS was being dumb BCS at that point. So there is nothing that encapsulates the spirit of this sport like that 2007 Fiesta Bowl. It will forever be one of, if not the greatest games of all time. Number 1, Chase, you had it on your list. You had it at number 3, I believe. It's my number 1. I can't help it.
Moment.
Go Devils. The Jail
I'm
Mary.
Taylor Kelly fan
Jalen Strong.
than you were with that, but
I
literally, I even just remember when you brought that up.
The Ohio State
there was a
of
USC
the
fan at that
Pac-12
bar I was at.
in USC,
and he was putting
the
up
University
his
of
victory
Spoiled
sign.
Children. No one we loved to hate growing up more than them.
Walk out as everyone was like, "What happened?"
Oh man, ASU was reeling from a loss. of the quarterback. Taylor Kelly got injured in the game before, and even though Mike Bercovici stepped in and performed admirably,
dude,
it was just too much
walked
to
out all
overcome.
of us from
And
pointing
we're
at
like,
him.
well,
What
there goes
happened?
the whole season.
Victory, right?
But not quite. Not quite. And then Arizona State came in, and the drive
Yeah.
before, I mean, it was a comeback of epic
I don't know what he was
proportions.
thinking
ASU
going
had
to
no
a
business
bar on
winning that
Mill
game.
to
And then
be a
this man,
USC fan.
who would have been an amazing quarterback in the NFL if he could just stop smoking weed for a little bit with the Texans. Just too many drug violations and whatever, Jalen Strong. But in that moment, he goes up and he snags it in front of two USC safeties and just boop, grabs it. One runs right past him in the Coliseum. Oh man, I was walking. I was at my whole family had gone over to my aunt and uncle's house to watch it because they at that time had like the big theater room kind of thing, and I had like my keys in my hand. Like we were walking towards the door, and it was like, all right, let's watch the Hail Mary, and then that's ASU, and then it happened. We lost our dang minds. You would have thought we were gonna light the house on fire. It was so good. And I have been riding that. I mean, and obviously they went on to have a really good year. Not a champion caliber year, but a really good year. And Mike Bercovici, I still think he should have gotten his shot in the NFL. He was the best part of that team. And it was outstanding. So top fives, good times, guys. Fun times. This is what the sport's about. I love it. It really was. Yeah. Oh, I remember you texting me. I remember that night you texted me, hey, I'm at this bar and I'm kind of afraid for this USC fan that's here right now. Like, there's a lot of drunk people. Yeah. Yeah. You're like, there's a lot of very drunk ASU fans that are going to make questionable choices tonight. Yeah. That's how confident they are. And honestly, like they were very highly ranked. Yeah, that's what college football is about, everybody. This has been a fun episode, fun week. We are getting into it. It is the meat of the season. We're getting into the main slate, the conference. We're going to know who's real and who's fake. So much at stake going into this weekend. We'll be here for you every step of the way. We love you. Please follow, like, subscribe, comment. Let us know how crazy we are. Let us know how wrong we are. Let us know what you think. And we'll die on a lot of hills. We will. We'll be there for you every step of the way. Signing off. My name is Connor. This is Chance and Chase. This has been the Concussion Protocol podcast. You guys are amazing. We'll talk later. Good night, everybody.